Nobody tries to excuse our behavior but us. When a black man calls it out, oh my God, they will crucify y'all. And it will be the truth. And it will be like, you have no right to say that. But that's the same black man that you want to take care of you. That's the same
Mm.
black man that you want to provide and protect for you. If that's the same type of man that you want, that's the type of man that should be able to call you out on your BS.
Mm.
But we make excuses. I had, and I make excuses because of the same reason. I'm like, I understand her plight. Like, I understand why she acts like that. But then I started to look at myself like, damn, I go through the same stuff. I don't act like that. My friend over here, she's been through it. She don't act like that. I just started holding us accountable.
Today's episode will present a nuanced conversation. It is intended for a mature audience. I would like to send out a trigger warning for anyone that is easily triggered by the discussion centered around black women, because we will discuss black women, we will generalize black women today. The goal of this conversation is not to have everyone agree with the subject or agree with the participants. However, it is to allow each listener to present their own perspective. All views are welcomed. I encourage you to have an open mind and a softened heart. The hope is from this conversation, we can have an advanced conversation and we can advance our homes, we can advance our community. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Life Coaching by Mel, my friend, my newfound friend, Amanda Williams. How you doing today, Amanda?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. It's an honor to have you on. I think you guys need to buckle up because it's going to be an amazing conversation. Amanda is a powerhouse. I'm looking forward to this discussion. Amanda has gone viral recently on TikTok with a video over 100K views. Amanda, you're doing your thing. But she went viral for saying this.
Yeah, I really started to dislike black women. I love us because I am us, but I don't like us at all. Like black women, we are nasty to black women. There's no in between with us. Either I meet a sister that's like me, that's empowering and honest and genuine and just humble and all of the good stuff. But the other ones, no. We catty. We're backstabbers. We jealous. We're conniving. We're vindictive. The worst treatment in the last 10 years of my life has come from black women.
Pretty powerful stuff there, Amanda.
When I did that, of course, I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? That truly wasn't my intent. That was truly how I was feeling in the moments. There were no edits done to that video. I had just seen a sister that was about my age and beautiful. When I tell you gorgeous, just gorgeous. And I gave her a compliment. And what she said to me, I can't even repeat right now.
Mm.
And it triggered me because that happens all the time. It happens all the time. So there was no intention of going viral or anything like that. I just speak from my heart. And that was something that just at that moment, I just felt like I needed to say, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the moments that goes viral the most when people see a genuine message, people connect with someone from a genuine place, and it resonates. You know, it resonates, and I think that's exactly what your video did. I went through several of your other videos leading up to that, and maybe 3 months prior to that. Not to call you out at all, it's really just to kind of make emphasis to your point in this video. But you made mention like, look, I'm not looking to go at any black women. I want to unite with black women. Help me out with the timeline. Like what led you? I know you mentioned the instance with this lady here, and you said it happens all the time. But how do you go from I want to unite to this viral video?
Because those efforts to unite and those efforts to make genuine connections, they weren't being accepted, never reciprocated. You know, I also made a video months prior to that on Valentine's Day where I was walking out of a Starbucks and this sister gave me a compliment and I was floating all day long. Just because it's something that I wasn't used to. And you could tell that sister was genuine and she was beautiful herself. So
Yeah.
it's um It's really, really just experiences. I'm a retail manager, so I come into contact with a lot of women, a lot of different races, all kinds. And I've worked in 6, 7 different states. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just,
Wow.
oh, this is my experience here. Um, so that's what led to it. I'm like, am I the only one that is genuinely seeking these type of relationships? And it's just not, they're not finding it. They're not
Mm.
finding it. And I still would like to unite with Black women, but if you read the comments, the sentiment is the same. It's scary because of the rejection, because of the hurtful comments. Like, who wants to keep putting themselves out there like that? Even some of the young ladies said that they would just be walking down the street and insults would be thrown at them. And I know that that's true because that's happened to me. Um, but it hadn't been at the hands of other races. And if it is at the hands of other races, it's like we expect that from them. You know what I mean? Like, you expect other people's children to be disrespectful, but you don't expect that from your own because you take care of them. They're family, they're yours. So that's just how I felt. Like, this is from 10, 15 years of this. This is not just something that happened overnight, but that particular incident was just the icing on the cake. And I'm like, I'm done with us. Like, I'm just done. Like, I can't do it
Yeah,
anymore.
I hear you 100%, and I'm with you. I think that I'm not a Black woman, of course, but I definitely hear that sentiment a lot, and it's something that just easily is disqualified. And I look at that word disqualified. Whenever someone is critical of Black women, I do if information. I mean, I give out content that's critical, not mean or hateful, but it is critical towards Black women. And they find a way to disqualify me. Well, you can't say this because you're a man. If a white man or a white person say something, well, you can't say it for you're a white person. So I'm
Right.
curious, you mentioned some of those comments. In what ways have they attempted to maybe disqualify your message?
Honestly, it was only like one or two. And I have to say that either it's been 1000% support or it's been the exact Black woman that I'm talking about. And in the defense of the Black women that have, seen the post and responded to it, it hasn't all been negative. The sad part about it is all of the stories are alike. They're the same. What has happened is, they try to throw other races into this. And I'm like, I'm not talking about that. I grew up in the South. I know what racism is. I know how other people feel about us. We all know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we expect that behavior from them, but we don't, you just don't expect that. I don't from, somebody who looks like me, shares my story, shares my plight, understands what I'm going through, experiencing the same thing, yet you give it. It's just like if you grew up in an abusive household, right? Your parents abuse you. When you grow up to be a parent, the last thing that you want to do is make your child experience what you've experienced. But that's what Black women do. It's like we experience it, then we go dish it. And that is baffling to me. I say this all the time, and I tell my daughters, they are 15, 13, and 9, but I'm basically talking to my teenagers. I can look at a Black woman. We have like this unspoken language. It's body language. It's in our eyes. It's in our demeanor. I can tell what she's been through. I can tell when she's hurt. I can tell when she's sad. I can tell when she's pretending to be happy. Like, we just know, and I know that other women can look at me and tell the same thing. So why would I look at a sister and I'm able to see myself in her, but then I'm rude and I'm nasty? It makes no sense to me.
Hmm.
It makes absolutely
Man,
no sense to me.
man, it's super powerful, and it makes complete sense. What you're saying, it makes complete sense. Well, let's break down a few things that you mentioned during the video, if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay.
You said the phrase "There's no in between with us." Help us understand. What do you mean by that?
There is either a sister that's speaking just like me, like I meet women, few and far between, that are like, girl, you bad. You know, all about the compliments, all about helping. Uh, they're just 100% genuine and legit. But then you got the other one that's just downright nasty, jealous, envious. It's usually, they don't pick a trait. It's usually it's either all of them or it's none. and that's baffling to me as well. There is no in between. Like I haven't experienced the in between. And if a woman was faking it, it wasn't long before the jealousy, the envy, and all of that surfaced. So I've either experienced the good or the bad. Like I haven't had a sister that was just tolerable, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
either somebody that I can love and be your friend. It's like, girl, I can't deal with you. I'm not dealing with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes complete sense. And it's something that you see often. I grew up, my mom, had both my parents were married, but I saw my
Mine too.
mom have, yeah, they were married for 30 years. They eventually got divorced. But the common thing I saw with my mom, like she never met a stranger, essentially. Like everyone she meets, she, become instant best friends, but it never lasts more than 3 months.
Yep.
Like it was hard to maintain relationships, and seemingly, especially with another black woman. Uh, another thing you said there, you said when you get to my age, we are the worst, and I thought that was super powerful. I want to
Yeah.
ask you in 2024, what does it look like for an older woman to mentor a younger woman?
It's very difficult. Well, let me say this. This younger generation, they're not a generation that you can just tell anything to. They question everything. You know how our parents could just tell us something and we kind of roll with it. These young people check the source. So if you're trying to tell them something and you're not living it, they're not listening to you.
Ooh.
So when women are like, these young women, you can't tell them anything. They'll curse you out, this, and that. I'm gonna be honest with you. That really hasn't been my experience. Because I don't really speak on something that I'm not. The rule in my house with my daughters is do as I do and not as I say, because that means that I have to hold myself to such a high standard. So, example, my daughter, my 13-year-old, was cursing one day, and I told my friend what she said, and she's like, "Are you going to address that?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, is she going to be in trouble?" I said, "No." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I know exactly where it came from." I said she basically quoted me verbatim. She quoted me verbatim. I said, so that's not a punishable offense in my eyes. I said, but she can't keep her room nasty because I don't keep my house nasty. She can not keep up her hygiene because she didn't see me do that. She can't be rude to people because she didn't see me do that. You know what I mean? So it when I talk to these young women and I come in contact with a lot of them because I'm a retail manager, a lot of them work under me. My staff is normally, my part timers are normally early 20s and teens because it's a part time position. And they listen to me because I walk the walk. And so I think we just have a younger generation of women and just young people. They check the source. They're like, girl, how you gonna tell me that? And you not doing it. So,
Yeah.
and I'm the same way. I'm like, when somebody's giving me advice, I don't care who they are. Like, how can you tell me how to make $1 million? My dad says all the time, and you've never done it. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, how can I trust your information when it doesn't seem like you trust your own information because you're not applying it to your own life? So
Oof.
while there are these young people, like we know these crazy young people not to talk to. Like we know, but some of them are reachable. And I will say the young women that I mentor indirectly, they're receptive. They are receptive. I've had, young ladies that have worked for me 5, 6, 7 years down the line. I'll run into them or I see them on social media. They'll be like, "Oh, Miss Amanda, I remember when you told me this. Oh, I'm so glad you told me this." And they have applied that information to their lives. And like I said, I don't tell them anything, first of all, that I haven't experienced or that I'm not trying to live out myself. So yeah, I think the younger generation is reachable, but they're just gonna check the source. Like you got to make sure you own your stuff before you go try to tell them anything. Period.
Man. Yeah, I think that the whole notion of do as I say, not as I do, has always been false. Honestly, we just find a way not to do it in front of you, but we still did it. Like we
Yep.
took the habits,
I did. I know I
And so
did.
yeah. But you're spot on because me and my wife we're set to have our first baby here in a few months, and I
Oh,
told her, look,
congratulations.
thanks a lot. I told her, look, babe, we're gonna be doers. It's not about what we say; it's about what we do. And I'm not gonna tell my kid to not do something when they vividly see me do it every single day. So
Every
it's
single
it's
day.
amazing to hear you
Hmm.
say, man. So I want to move on to something else you said here. You said you never saw the women that raised you act or talk negative towards younger women along those same lines. Now, there's a common rebuttal that I receive a lot, and I'm sure other people do, uh, from black women that say it's not all black women. If you see negative black women, it's because it's the ones you hanging around.
Yep.
How true is their statement?
1,000% false. That's 1,000% false. And because if anybody knows me, like I'm very like I'm very, very, very protective of myself, my energy, my spirit. Because if I don't do that, then I can't be who I need to be to the people in my life. You know what I mean? So, and I'm very, very positive. Like I really couldn't have made a video like that if I was the opposite of what I said. You know what I mean? Um, but what I think that I do, where my mistake lies, is I always try to see the good in people. You know what I mean? Like I really, really, really do. And that goes back to I can see the hurt in black women. I can see the pain. I can pretty much read you and tell you what you've been through. And I know they can do the same thing to me. Without us having really to say a word, or we may have a conversation. And from that conversation, I can just tell. And so because I'm a Christian and I try to love people like God loves me, I go into this, oh, let me help you. Let me embrace you. Let me be the person that, makes you feel better, because I know how you feel. And that I think a lot of people, they don't even know how to accept it. A lot of black women don't know how to accept, they don't know how to accept it. But after reading the comments, it kind of made me understand why, because they've been experiencing the same thing.
Mm.
They've been experiencing the same thing. So, but the only, the drawback I have about that is you still don't have to be nasty. You still don't have to be rude, about it. Like if you don't want to communicate, if you don't want to make a connection with me, you don't have to be nasty about it. But no, I don't. That's not true. That's not true at all. And I think I made the statement like that's like saying a woman that's been abused. Like she's being abused because she's asking for it. Like she's attracting that. That's not true. That's not that 90% of the women that are being abused. That I would almost say 100%. That's not true.
For sure. I love that. Now, another thing you said there was white women have helped me more than black women. Now, of course, we hear the notion that it's important to support black businesses, and I'm for, you see people say, I'm for everything black. And I even be saying, like, you mean everything, even the crackheads? I always question that. But anyway, how important is black unity?
Um, I think the fact that uh, the others work so hard to divide us shows us how important it is. Because if it wasn't, why would it be, such an agenda for them? You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Why would it be such an agenda? That I think back to um, slavery. It was hundreds of slaves to one master. They divide us with fear. That's the first thing that they use. They use fear. And I think it's just obvious. Like, look how powerful black women are. Come on, like for real, for real. Look how strong we are. Look how we persevere. Look how freaking smart we are, bro. Come on, we can walk into any room and just own it. You think that they're not intimidated, or the thought of putting five of us like that together intimidates them? And don't let it be 500. Don't let it be
Hmm.
5,000. Don't let it be 5 million. We would take over. We would take over. So they start by dividing us, then they divide us from our men. You see, it's separation of family. The thing that they thrive on, which is unity and family, is the same thing that they use to divide us. That shows you how important it is, because it's weaponized. Because if our unity wasn't a thing, they wouldn't even be trying to ununify us or keep us divided.
Hmm. it's like we've been knowing each other forever. Because I talk about that all the time. We talk about they had to find a roundabout way to implement the same strategies, of the Jim Crow era and, prior to that slavery. They found the Great Society, and they found food stamps and, different things, the welfare system, where they found ways where it impacts us. Don't get me wrong, there's by numbers, white people are on it as well and more of them, but we were impacted the most where it just dismantled our families
Yeah,
and we don't
because
see
one of the criteria was you can't have a male in the home.
exactly. Exactly.
You know,
And
so I had to choose between having my husband in my home, a father to my children, or do I feed my children?
yes. Yes.
Like, what kind of
And we
choice is
just
that?
yeah. And I know, people very close to me that, they were married and the husband just chose to divorce or chose to not be together just so they can implement that as well. So there were men, don't get me
Wow.
wrong, that there were men who, willfully took that, back step and took that second
Oh
hand and
wow. Now that I didn't know.
yeah. So at the end of the day, you're right. It was a strategy against us, and because they know we're more powerful together.
And
So
they
amazing.
know that we're the most powerful weapon against each other. In my
Yes.
follow-up video, I had to respond to people saying we shouldn't air our dirty laundry. And I'm like, you as if they don't know. They know. That's
Yes.
why they use it against us. Every, job that I've had problems on, and an upper supervisor, in my case, a regional or district manager, they didn't like me. You think they got one of them to come at me? It was always one of us because they know how we operate. They know that they can take another Black woman and weaponize her against me. Now, where they get surprised is when they try to get me to do it. Because
Mm.
they say, oh, no, 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 no. And I made another video, and there, women were saying, oh, she just hates Black women. All she does is talk about Black women. Well, what about the one when I said, I'm never beefing with a Black woman? I said, what I'm not doing in 2024 is beefing with a Black woman. I don't care
Yep.
how much discontent, how much dislike I have for you. I'm not beefing with you. I would just not deal with you. But guess what? I'll still support your business. I'll still, refer your business. I can support you. We don't have to like each other. But I think where we fall off is like there's no respect. There's no empathy for each other. I'm the type of person, like if I need something, I'll go seek out a Black business first. I'll go see, I try to get a Black woman. And you know why I do that? Because my parents did that. My parents did that.
Yeah.
My dad's an entrepreneur. My dad has never punched a clock. So I know how important it is for us to support each other. But, I talk about that all the time. We don't do that either. We'll come ask us for discounts
Yep.
and go pay others full price and then get mad. We feel as if a Black person owes us something because they do have a business. Well, what they don't understand, it took them probably more money, more resources, more effort. They probably had to put so much more in that to even obtain what they have. So they're not even in a position to give you a discount.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't even want one. I feel like it's disrespectful to ask. So
Yeah. It sometimes seems like familiarity makes you, discount things or makes you want to look at it as a less than thing. And you talk about a
mhm.
lot about how you know us, and that's the reason you can be critical of, Black women. And also in that video you mentioned about when people, commented saying you shouldn't air our dirty laundry or don't do it in front of mixed company. You gave this powerful analogy of uncles. The uncle, do you remember that? If you don't mind, could you share that with us?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, so y'all, yeah, it's the truth. And I don't know if that's just a Southern thing, but we all have the uncle in the family that is basically a pedophile. Nobody turns him in, but all of a sudden, if he walk in, you see people grabbing their kids. I've experienced that, and I'm just like, what is going on? What is going on? But when we listen, we go to grandma's house. If Uncle so and so try to get you to go in the room, or don't you go no. And as I got older, I was like, well, why wasn't his ass in jail? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like no accountability. no accountability. But what I've learned with other races, oh, they'll turn them in.
Mm.
They will turn them in. I don't know why. I don't understand that. With us, like we literally try to sweep stuff under the rug, and we get mad when it's called out, even though it's the truth. And my point was, read the comments. Read the comments. It'll show you that it's the truth. Like it doesn't need to be swept under the rug. How are we gonna deal with it? Are we not tired of them using that against us? I am. I am. But yeah, we all have that. And it may not be a pedophile, but it may be somebody that steals. You know, if a certain cousin's coming over, they be like, girl, go put all your stuff up. Hide the jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Put all your mail up because they'll write your address down and get your credit card numbers. Like, but we don't have them arrested for fraud. We cover it up. So,
Mm.
and not saying that they don't. That's just what I've learned about us. We are notorious for trying to hide things that are in plain sight.
Yeah.
In plain sight.
Absolutely, that's so powerful, and just my opinion. I'm not trying to make it yours, but I think a large part of why we don't get those people locked up is because we are a matriarchy. When it comes to, you think about it, if you ever had an uncle or somebody a male go to jail, and he called home, mama saying, "Oh, let's go get my boy." Daddy saying, "Let that boy stay in there."
All day.
He needs some act right or whatever. So the fact that we are a matriarch, I think a lot of time, I think about it in my own family. Like we know that uncle, we know that cousin that has for generations, molested young girls, and
Yep.
we don't say anything. And
Nope.
I call it out. Everybody, oh, no,
Yep.
y'all, I'm just saying the thing y'all scared to say.
Yeah.
But
They'll throw you out of the family. You are not invited to the cookout anymore.
absolutely. Man, that's so big. I appreciate you for sharing that there. Now, one last thing you mentioned in the video that I want to point out. You said, I had been making excuses for us because the
Hmm.
struggle is true for all of us. So I want to ask you this. What effects do you believe the excuses that people make for Black women has led or has had, what effect has it had on the progression of Black women?
See, that's the thing. Nobody makes excuses for us but us. Nobody makes excuses for us but us. Nobody tries to excuse our behavior but us. When a Black man calls it out, oh my God, they will crucify y'all. It would be like, and it would be the truth. And it would be like, you have no right to say that. But that's the same Black man that you want to take care of you. That's the same
Mm.
Black man that you want to provide and protect you. So if that's the same type of man that you want, that's the type of man that should be able to call you out on your BS.
Mm.
But we make excuses. I have. And I make excuses because of the same reason. I'm like, I understand her plight. Like, I understand why she acts like that. But then I started to look at myself like, damn, I go through the same stuff. I don't act like that. My friend over here, she's been through it. She don't act like that. So um, I just started holding us accountable because I hold myself accountable. And I'm like, wait, sis, yeah, we go through all of this, but so does every other Black woman. You know what I mean? So why does that give us an excuse to be nasty? You know what I mean? Why? Why? Like, that's no excuse. That's even more reason to unify because we are experiencing the same things. They say hurt people, and Black women, we're the poster child for that. We're hurt, but we don't tend to hurt the people that hurt us. We hurt the people that look like us. And that's
Mm.
weird to me. It really is weird to me. For lack of a better word, that's weird to me. I don't get it because, like I said, and not to call my mom out. I love my mom to no end. But my mother's mom died of cancer very, very early in her life. I never met my grandmother, and they were very, very, very close. And then there was some getting discontent for her father afterwards because of how he treated my grandmother while she was sick and going through that and the things that he did after. But because of that, my mother was very emotionally withdrawn. Um, when I say a great provider, like we had the best of the best. Like I'll never take that away from her. But not a person that I could talk to. My father and I are best friends, and he traveled a lot. So it would be times where my mother and I would be in the house, and we couldn't say, we never said anything to each other. When it was time for groceries, I would walk in there, and the credit card would be on the table. I could go get whatever I wanted in my new car. But I told her as an adult, and we have a great relationship now, better relationship. I said I would have traded all of that for a conversation. So in turn, with my three daughters, I'm the opposite. Everything that I felt, I try to make sure they don't feel it. And I try to do the same for Black women. If everything that I've experienced at the hands of Black women, I try to make sure that I don't do that to Black women. I actually go out of my way to say, through my actions, through my words, hey sis, I'm not like that. I'm on your team, I'm on your side. But I guess they're in such an untrusting state. It's not reciprocated and it's not accepted. It's not.
Man, that tugs on my heart a little bit there, and I hope things could change. And speaking of change, I mean, you have a conversation like this, so many people will hear these powerful words and still say, "What's the solution?" So for those who don't see it, because typically the solution is within the problem. Just do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
for
exactly
those
what
who
I was
don't
about to
see
say.
it, right? So what advice would you give, to our listeners, or what message overall would you like to convey as we just begin to wrap up in today's episode?
I know it's gonna sound real, real simple, but treat others as you want to be treated, and don't make people feel how you don't want to feel. You know what I mean? And if you want anything to change, it's got to start with you. It has to start with you. For me, I think now I'm trying to be, and the sisters on my, that have responded to the post have really helped me to be more open-minded about Black women, because at this point, because I see there are women that are different. You know what I mean? The ones that spoke up and said, hey, I feel you, but I'm not like that. So I think most women need to step up and say, yeah, I acknowledge that this is a thing. This is a thing. And I'm just gonna be different. Like I for me, like I told my friend, I said, you know what? I'm going to, every time I see a Black woman, I'm gonna compliment her genuinely. I'm not gonna make up anything. Like just yesterday, I saw a lady in the gym and I really liked her locks. My daughter has locks. So I was like, dang, her hair looks good. I was very hesitant to tell her that. Very hesitant to tell her that. And I was watching her and she kind of saw me watching her and she kind of gave me this look like she looking at, so I was like, okay, now I gotta say something now because she's gonna think I'm one of them. So we get in the locker room and I'm like, sis, who did your hair? And I was like, and how did they do it? So now I'm like all in her head and I'm trying to figure out how they did her hair. And she was like, girl, my daughter did my hair. And then we had this whole conversation about daughters, skincare, all of this stuff. And now I got a new stylist and found out we were the same age, kids were the same age. And she was like, yeah, I've seen you at several gyms. And she's like, and her thing was, she's like, I've been wanting to say something to you, but you know how we are. But she was hesitant. She was hesitant to talk to me because of the same thing. So that taught me a lesson. I was like, we got to be the icebreakers because other women feel like this too. So I'm just gonna start breaking the ice. And when sisters aren't receptive, even with the nasty comments, nobody can say I responded negatively because it's genuinely not who I am, and I know who and whose I am. I don't feel the need to do that. I'm iron, baby. I might bend, but I don't break. You can't break me. So I'm just gonna pray and use the discernment that God gave me to seek out those women, and ask Him to place them in my path. And it's just gonna have to start one by one. We got to change it one by one. That's the only way I know how to do it. I don't know another way. But we can't sweep it under the rug. That is totally not gonna help. We can't hide it. We can't pretend like it's not a thing. The response from that lady, and I won't say her name, shows me that it is really a thing because she said that she had been wanting to ask me about my workouts. And asked me for advice and how did I, I do a lot of crazy stuff in the gym. And she wanted to ask me about that. She said, but she was very, very hesitant because she had approached other women that worked out before, and the response was just nasty. So
Yeah. Amanda, so grateful for you and your willingness and your bravery, honestly, to say what you said and just continue to do what you do. I want to give you an opportunity to shout out yourself and just your platform, if you would like, anywhere you would like people to find you, and also your training business.
I'm in New Orleans, and I will say this about training, and a lot of people don't know this. I stopped charging for my training a long time
Whoa,
ago. Yeah,
whoa.
um, I did. I do it pro bono for Black women. Nobody knows it. That's my way of supporting us, giving back to us. So if you're in the New Orleans area and you're looking for a trainer and you're serious about that life, you can hit me up. I'm actually working on a podcast called Out of the Black, where we talk
Nice.
about stuff that's in the dark that Black people don't want to talk about. I've been working on that for a couple of months. So just look for that. But I just felt like stuff like this needed to be talked about. So that particular post wasn't about attention. It wasn't about any of this. It was just like my feelings were hurt. My feelings were hurt. And I know that there was other Black women that were feeling like me. So yeah, look for Out of the Black. It's coming. I'm still working on it. But other than that, you're in New Orleans and you need a trainer. I'll let you girl, you know.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Looking forward to that, man. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Amanda,
We gotta
you
collab on some
enjoy.
more stuff. Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah,
Just
let's
let me know.
do
I'm
it.
there. 100%.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Amanda, you're a jewel. I really appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. You have a good one.
Let's go.